You know that classic movie scene, right? The one where the main character comes home after this incredibly long, exhausting day.
Yeah, the front door swings open and there's just this golden retriever waiting in the hallway.
Exactly. Its tail is wagging so hard, its entire body is just shaking. It's vibrating with pure, unadulterated joy.
It really is the globally recognized archetype of companionship. You know, the loyal dog waiting at the door, enthusiastically ready to make everything better the second you turn the key.
But if you were to shoot that exact same scene today, say in a modern urban apartment in Beijing or Shanghai, well, that golden retriever is completely gone.
Yeah, it's a totally different picture now.
You open the door to your apartment, and maybe, just maybe, a pair of glowing eyes blinks at you from the top of the refrigerator.
Right, and then, having briefly acknowledged your existence, it just promptly goes right back to sleep.
Exactly. I mean, we are looking at a complete rewrite of the domestic dream here, so welcome to today's deep dive.
It's a really fascinating topic we've got today.
It really is. If you're the kind of person who loves dissecting a quiet cultural revolution, you are going to love this one. We've got a massive stack of recent 2025 data in front of us.
Yeah, we're pulling from the China Pet Industry White Paper, the China Urban Pet Raising White Paper, and some incredibly revealing sociological studies.
Right, studies on a phenomenon that researchers are officially calling the urban feline shift. And our mission today is to figure out why this is happening.
Because it's so much more than just a passing trend. We are looking at a massive demographic and cultural pivot, one that reveals, well, a whole lot about how we live right now.
So whether you consider yourself a diehard dog lover, a devoted cat person, or just someone endlessly curious about human behavior, this deep dive is going to completely change how you view the furry roommates living in our cities.
It really reframes the whole concept of pet ownership.
Okay, let's unpack this. Just how big of a shift are we actually talking about here? Let's put some numbers to this feline takeover.
The scale is honestly staggering. According to the 2025 China Pet Industry White Paper, the number of pet cats in urban China has reached 72.89 million.
Wait, 72 million. Just to put that in perspective for you listening, that means there are literally more pet cats in urban China than there are human beings in the United Kingdom.
That is a brilliant way to contextualize it, actually.
Yeah.
It is a nation-sized population of felines.
It's massive.
And what's really telling is how it compares to the dog population, which currently sits at 53.43 million. So cats haven't just caught up to man's best friend. They have fundamentally eclipsed them.
Right. I mean, a gap of nearly 20 million pets is not a statistical rounding error. That is a definitive collective societal choice. The real question is why?
Exactly.
What is driving tens of millions of people to suddenly pivot to cats?
Well, the first major driver we have to look at is purely physical. It's essentially a game of space, architecture, and real estate.
Okay.
Lay that out for us. So the country's urbanization rate has now crossed 65%. That means you have this massive influx of young people migrating into Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities.
And they're obviously not moving into sprawling houses with backyards.
No, not at all. They're living in rental apartments or significantly smaller homes. The physical environment of the modern city simply rejects the traditional pet.
That makes total sense when you visualize it. I mean, keeping a large dog in a 40 square meter apartment on the 35th floor of a high-rise, it's like trying to parallel park a massive SUV in a compact space.
That's a great analogy.
It's stressful for the driver, it's stressful for the car, and everyone watching is just anxious. Plus, a dog is a major outdoor commitment.
Absolutely. You have to ride the elevator down 35 flights, navigate a crowded lobby, and walk them 2 to 3 times a day.
Right. Whether it's raining, snowing, or sweltering outside, you don't get a day off.
And landlords know this. When you have high-density living, property managers are hypersensitive to noise complaints. They worry about potential property damage and the liabilities of animals in shared public spaces.
So how does that play out in the rental market?
The data perfectly reflects this architectural reality. A 2025 survey from a Beijing Pet Behavior Institute found that 76% of young urban renters reported that keeping a cat doesn't violate their rental agreements.
Wow, 76%. I'm assuming the numbers for dogs are drastically lower.
Oh, definitely. Dog compliance plummets to just 29%. If you want a dog, you are immediately locking yourself out of 70% of the housing market.
That is a huge penalty just for wanting a specific type of pet.
It really is. So contrast the massive footprint of a dog with the feline footprint. An adult cat only requires about 3 to 5 square meters of floor space for a litter box and some food bowls.
Because they utilize vertical space, right? Like the top of that refrigerator we mentioned, or bookshelves, or windowsills.
Exactly. They are essentially claiming free real estate in a small apartment. They don't need a backyard.
They are the ultimate space-efficient companion. But surviving in a small apartment is just the physical boundary. As I was digging through these white papers, it became obvious that there's a much more invisible boundary at play here.
They care about time.
Yes, time. It's the ultimate luxury in the modern urban environment. And for millions of young professionals, they are entirely bankrupt when it comes to time.
That is undeniably true.
We have to talk about the 996 work system. For anyone listening who isn't familiar with this cultural shorthand, 996 refers to working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week.
It is a grueling, exhausting schedule.
It really is. It dominates the tech and corporate sectors. I look at a 72-hour work week plus commute times, and I genuinely have to ask, how can anyone living that lifestyle possibly keep an animal alive?
Let alone foster a meaningful relationship with it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, what's fascinating here is how the ancient biology of the domestic cat perfectly intersects with the hyper-modern schedule of the corporate worker.
Okay, how so? The data from the 2025 China Urban Pet Raising White Paper breaks this down perfectly. They found that cat owners spend exactly 1/3 of the time on active pet care compared to dog owners.
Only 1/3. Wow, that is a massive return on investment for companionship.
It really is, and it's driven by evolution. Cats are biologically programmed to conserve energy. They sleep for 12 to 16 hours a day.
So while you're at the office grinding through a 12-hour shift, your cat isn't pacing the floor waiting for you.
Right, they're essentially in sleep mode. They only require about 10 to 20 minutes of active playing or grooming a day.
Which, let's be honest, is basically the maximum amount of energy you have left after a 996 day.
Exactly.
Just enough energy to wave a feather wand around from the couch for a few minutes before you just completely collapse.
But it's not just the biology doing the heavy lifting here, it's the technology. We are seeing the massive rise of what industry experts are calling the smart apartment for pets.
Yes, the sources dive deep into this hardware ecosystem, and it honestly blew my mind.
The gadgets are wild, aren't they?
They really are. You can actually leave a cat completely alone in an apartment for 3 to 5 days if you have the right setup. We're talking an automated litter box that sifts and cleans itself,
A smart water fountain that constantly filters and circulates fresh water.
and a Wi-Fi-enabled automatic feeder that you just control from an app on your phone.
And the financial data backs up just how reliant people are becoming on this infrastructure. The smart pet device market isn't just growing. It's exploding with an annual growth rate of 41%.
41% a year, that's incredible.
Yeah, people are heavily investing in hardware that effectively automates the survival of their pets.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second, because I read that and my initial reaction was a bit cynical,
I can guess why.
right? Like, if we are buying automated robots to dispense kibble, clean up waste, and filter water while we stare at our pets through a two-way camera from an office desk, are we just outsourcing pet care?
It does sound a bit dystopian when you frame it like that.
It kind of does. Does this turn a living creature into like a physical Tamagotchi? It feels like we might be losing the actual point of having a living animal in our home.
I completely understand that reaction.
Yeah.
It is very easy to view this through a dystopian lens and just call it negligence.
Yeah.
But the sociological researchers in these studies urge us to reframe this entirely. It's not negligence, it's adaptation.
Adaptation. Okay, explain that a bit more.
The technology is a bridge. It enables incredibly busy, stressed-out people to maintain a vital connection to nature and life in a hyper-fast, concrete society. Without that technology, the 996 worker simply couldn't have a pet at all.
Oh, that actually reframes how I was looking at it. So the robot isn't replacing the relationship.
Exactly. It's facilitating it.
That makes sense. But, survival isn't the same as thriving. If people are so incredibly busy and they have to spend a small fortune on smart hardware just to keep the animal alive while they're at work, what is the psychological payoff that justifies all of this?
That's the core question, isn't it?
Yeah, like why not just get a nice, low-maintenance houseplant?
Well, to understand the payoff, we really have to look at the demographics of what economists are calling the loneliness economy.
The loneliness economy, that's a heavy term.
It is. In China alone, there are 92 million single young people born in the 1990s and 2000s.
92 million single young adults. Just think about that. That is a massive demographic of people living alone navigating the pressures of modern life without a traditional family structure in their immediate apartment.
Precisely. And the surveys reveal that 42% of them are actively choosing pets specifically as emotional sustenance.
So they aren't getting pets just for a fun hobby.
No, not at all. They are getting them as a deliberate intervention for their mental health.
Let's think about the mechanics of that dynamic for a second. If
No.
you picture a dog is like a high-maintenance, extroverted friend.
Oh, definitely.
They are thrilled to see you, but they demand your emotional energy the second you walk in the door. They need you to match their excitement.
Right, which can be exhausting if you're already drained.
Exactly. But a cat is like a chill, introverted roommate. They just want to quietly coexist in the same room while you decompress on the couch or answer late-night emails.
They don't demand a performance from you. And that is exactly the dynamic sociologists are measuring. They use a term called non-intrusive companionship.
Non-intrusive companionship. I like that.
Yeah. Cats don't cling, but their mere proximity acts as a physiological anchor. There's a very powerful university study highlighted in our sources that actually quantifies this effect.
Oh, right. The depression scale study.
Yes, they tracked young urbanites and found that individuals who spend more than 10 hours a week alone with their cats score a massive 22 points lower on standard depression scales compared to non-pet owners.
Let me just stop and highlight that for you listening. Think
Right.
about the mechanics of that. In a world of constant sensory overload, notifications buzzing, demands from your boss, the sheer noise of a city of 20 million people.
A lot to process every day.
It is. And yet 10 hours of silent, undemanding companionship is acting as a literal, measurable buffer against depression. A 22-point drop isn't just a slight mood boost. That is a significant psychological intervention.
It really is. It proves that the coldness or aloofness of a cat isn't a flaw in their design. It is their greatest feature.
That's a great way to put it.
When your nervous system is completely fried from a 12-hour workday, the intense, demanding dependency of a dog might actually feel like another chore.
Right.
What a highly stimulated, overworked brain needs is ambient companionship. Quiet, non-judgmental presence.
It's like a sensory sanctuary in your own living room. But, there's an incredible irony baked into this entire phenomenon.
What do you mean?
Well, because while cats offer this amazing quiet relief from digital noise and screen time, the digital world is exactly what is driving their popularity into the stratosphere.
Ah, yes. We cannot talk about the feline shift without talking about this social media catalyst.
I have to drop this wild statistic from the sources because it completely changed how I view my own social media feed.
Let's hear it.
In 2025, 83% of the top 100 cute pet accounts across the whole internet, and we're talking about massive platforms here like Douyin, which is the Chinese sister app to TikTok, and Xiaohongshu, which operates kind of like their equivalent to Instagram.
Right, huge user bases.
Massive.
Right.
And 83% of those mega viral accounts are about cats. They are the ultimate internet celebrities.
They really rule the internet.
But here's where it gets really interesting. How does scrolling past a funny cat video on your phone translate into someone actually going out, signing adoption papers, and bringing an animal into their home?
To understand that, we have to look at the psychological conversion funnel. It starts with a fascinating cultural phenomenon known as cloud cat raising.
Cloud cat raising, like cloud computing, but for pets.
That is the exact analogy, actually. It's the practice of enjoying the emotional benefits of a pet entirely digitally, without any of the physical or financial responsibility.
So you just watch them online.
Right. You watch the daily vlogs, you use the cat's face as an emoji in your group chats, and you start to develop a genuine parasocial relationship with these internet-famous felines.
You feel like you actually know them.
You really do.
Yeah.
But the data shows it rarely stays in the cloud forever. The e-commerce data from platforms like Taobao is undeniable here.
Oh, this is the conversion rate data, right?
Yes. The conversion rate for users buying cat food or pet supplies after watching cute pet videos is 4.7 times higher than from traditional polished brand advertisements.
Wait, 4.7 times higher. So a shaky smartphone video of a cat falling off a couch or making a funny noise is exponentially better at selling pet food than a multi-million-dollar ad campaign.
It's not even close, because it's selling an authentic lifestyle, not just a product.
That is wild.
And an MCN agency, and these are the massive multi-channel networks that manage internet influencers and track their audience behaviors. They conducted a survey revealing something even crazier.
What's that?
28% of first-time cat owners explicitly admit they went out and bought a cat because they were directly influenced by internet-famous felines.
Wait, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Almost a third of new owners got a cat because they succumbed to TikTok peer pressure.
Put simply, yes.
I mean, I love a good viral video, but that sounds incredibly impulsive for what is essentially a 15-year commitment to a living creature.
I see your point, and it absolutely sounds impulsive on the surface, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes perfect psychological sense.
How so?
Social media didn't invent the fundamental human desire for nurturing or companionship. People have always had that biological urge.
Right, that's just human nature.
Exactly.
Right.
What social media did was serve as the ultimate catalyst. It perfectly packaged the aesthetic, low-maintenance appeal of the feline lifestyle and delivered it directly via an algorithm to a stressed-out, lonely generation that was already primed and looking for relief.
Ah, I see.
It didn't create the problem, it just visually flooded them with the solution.
That makes a lot of sense. It normalized it. It showed someone sitting in a tiny apartment, totally exhausted, that they could still have a beautiful, comforting companion that fits their chaotic life.
Exactly. It made the feline lifestyle look incredibly desirable and aesthetically pleasing.
And that brings us to what I think is the most profound shift in all of this data. Because we aren't just changing which animal we buy, we are fundamentally changing our definition of what a pet actually is.
We are witnessing the final death of the traditional concept of pets as utility animals.
Yeah, historically, across almost all cultures, pets had a functional purpose, didn't they?
They did. A dog was for guarding the house or herding livestock or hunting. A cat was strictly for catching mice in the granary. They had jobs.
Well, they were essentially employees of the household. You fed them in exchange for their labor.
But according to the 2025 China Pet Emotional Value Report, 61% of cat owners now define their pets not as animals and certainly not as employees, but explicitly as family members.
Family members.
Yes. And when you isolate the demographic driving this shift, urbanites under the age of 35, that number skyrockets to 79%.
Nearly 80% view a creature that used to be a barnyard mouse catcher as a literal furry child.
Yeah.
That is a massive conceptual leap in human-animal relations.
It is. And it brings us full circle back to that cold personality appeal we discussed earlier.
So boundaries thing.
Right. A cat's notoriously aloof personality perfectly matches the communication preferences and boundary issues of contemporary youth. Cats respect boundaries. They don't force interaction.
And in a society where young people often feel their personal boundaries are constantly being violated, by 996 work schedules, by managers messaging them at midnight, by the sheer crush of city living.
Exactly.
Having a pet in your home that models healthy, independent boundaries is deeply psychologically appealing.
It's comforting. Now, I do want to make sure we balance the narrative here because I know we have dog lovers listening, and I don't want them to think we're saying dogs are somehow obsolete or canceled.
Oh, absolutely not. We have to remember that dogs still have a massive dedicated fan base of over 53 million in urban China alone.
The data doesn't suggest people hate dogs. It suggests it comes down to a lifestyle match.
Right.
Dogs belong to those who have managed to secure more regular schedules, those who have obtained more physical space, and crucially, those who genuinely desire highly interactive, dependent companionship.
So if you want a creature that makes you the absolute center of its universe, and you actually have the time and energy to reciprocate that, you definitely want a dog.
Precisely. But if you are a busy urbanite, a renter, someone grinding through a 996 schedule, and you're seeking quiet, bounded affection that doesn't demand the little energy you have left, well, cats are the undeniable logical choice.
So what does this all mean for us?
It means we need to stop looking at pet ownership as just a cute hobby or a random consumer choice. The animals we bring into our homes act as a profound socioeconomic indicator.
Let's synthesize this journey for you, the listener, because the shift from 53 million dogs to 72 million cats isn't just a fun piece of trivia for your next dinner party. It's a mirror.
A mirror reflecting our reality.
Exactly. It is reflecting the rapid urbanization and the physical shrinking of our private spaces. It's reflecting the exhausting, time-bankrupt reality of the 996 work culture.
And it's highlighting the deep, structural loneliness of 92 million young singles who are desperately searching for non-intrusive companionship to, lower their depression.
And of course, it shows the undeniable, overwhelming power of social media algorithms to actually shape our physical reality.
Ultimately, choosing a pet today is about choosing the exact right lifestyle match for the highly specific, often stressful environment we built for ourselves.
Exactly. We hope this deep dive has given you a completely new lens through which to view the pets in your own life or, the pets currently ruling the apartments of your friends.
It's never just about the animal. It's about the world around the animal.
So true. But before we go, there is one final lingering question we want to leave you with, something that builds on everything we've just discussed today.
If the pets we choose are a direct reflection of our socioeconomic environment, as our world becomes even more automated, more virtual, and heavily AI-driven over the next decade, what kind of traits will we look for in our animal companions next?
That's a great question.
Will we crave even more independence and detachment, looking for pets that require absolutely zero input? Or, as genuine human connection becomes rarer, will we suddenly long for the intense, demanding dependency of a dog to remind us we're actually needed in the real world?
Will we want the golden retriever at the door to anchor us to reality, or the glowing eyes on the fridge to quietly share our digital caves?
Something for you to ponder.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We invite you to return next time as we unpack another stack of fascinating sources. Until then, keep questioning the world around you.